Yeah, my name is Alan Newson. I used to play cricket on Pims Park as such. I used to play cricket over there at that time when I was in my 20s, 30s. The cricket scene. That's all gone. Well, it's not. I don't think they even play it there now. It's only just over the back here. Here, it was the oldest bowling club in the area. Used to be the most successful, if you look at it. You know what I mean? But it was one of the first to deteriorate because the clubs around. You know what I mean? And when you thought, you know what I mean, bowls as a sport, it's in every area. Every area had its bowls green. You know what I mean? You go back to the 30s and 40s and 50s. You know what I mean? Were so active. They were part, but it's deteriorated. Born in Edmonton, brought up in Edmonton, brought up from 100 yards from this where we are now. That's where the parents were during the war, of course. We've lived in Edmonton and surrounding areas all as that, and I still do. I live in Winchmore Hill, which isn't too far up the hill, but that's where all the snobs live, you know what I mean? But anyway, that's where we are. First of all, I mean, all right, I'm coming up to being next week. I'm 80 years of age. We're coming there. Lived my whole life in the North End of London. And lived, and only on various career occasions we've actually lived away from that area. But that was just due to my employment and everything else sort of started there. Originally, when I first came up, I was very much involved with the local sports scene. But at a younger age, I used to play for Tottenham Boys, which is football, and that progressed through many other sides of sport and everything else. The sport was always associated with my life in every way. The sport it wasn't just only football; it was cricket. It was every type of sport imaginable. And also got involved with the organising side of that. So from the football, from the cricket, where I ran a local sides. I managed a football side. I would then also played and everything else in cricket. Cricket was my main love at that time. You know what I mean? It all came to that right up until I was still playing cricket. When I was nearly just after 60. I packed up playing because of injuries. You know what I mean? But that's how it's worked. That also sort of fringed on to my working life. I was an insurance man. I became an insurance. Well, originally I was a coalman. I worked on the coals, but from an age of 14. I think I started on the coal through friends of the families and everything else of where we lived in Tottenham, and from there it became to a stage, you know what I mean, of being very much involved locally because our main area of work was Tottenham, Edmonton, and everything the surrounding areas. And also that was all linked up with the local working men's club, which was the Tottenham TLNR club. You wouldn't know because it's all closed down since for many years now. Tottenham TLNR, where my father was the secretary and president of the Tottenham Liberal. It was the largest working men's club in the south of England. It was quite a job, and because when I was reached up, I was working there. I used to work there. I used to have me working there behind the bar and everything else, and running the bar. So it was in a local community with a membership of something in the region of 3,000 people. It was always they knew who you were and who the family were and everything else. It all went on from there. So what was my working scene and the sports scene and everything else, it all got associated in and around the whole area. It all fringed in, you know what I mean? So, I mean, when we used to live just down the road, which was in the wartime, and then we moved on. But everybody used to move on at that time, you know what I mean? If once your house got damaged or bombed or anything else, it's all moved out. But as I say, once I got into after my working life, I became into insurance because I'd had enough, and my injuries said, "Look, just pack it up." You know what I mean? Just don't. You can't carry on doing coaling and being a coalman, carrying this and carrying that. So the legs were playing up. It was either pack the coaling in or pack the sport in. So I packed the coaling in, didn't I? And I became an insurance man. That was the insurance man round the houses, still covering all of these houses, the areas around here. And I did quite well at that. And I was promoted up within the insurance industry. I became a district manager, and then was actually going on to being an area managers and everything else. But during that period, I got involved. I was very much involved with the insurance unions. I got involved with the union side, you know what I mean, which is all that got associated with that. And the unions, and I was then elected to be General Secretary of the union, which is a national union of insurance workers. I was the General Secretary for the Royal London Insurance, which is a national company. That went on from there, but during that period, my sport in life carried on and on there because I was playing football. When I stopped playing football, I became a manager of a football side, and then the cricket went on and on, and all the teams that we played were in the whole of this area. That involved Edmonton Cricket Club, where my brother-in-law and other friends were playing for. So Edmonton became very much of a scene that we was involved in Edmonton. You see everybody. It was quite a very, very active social scene. I don't know how far you want me to go now. Anyway, all times went on. We're then. Of course, age starts to bring in, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It's age, you know what I mean? When do you just pack up playing cricket? When did you pack up playing football and everything else? Well, the football went for quite early, you know what I mean? The cricket didn't go that early. And once that all them activities going, and it's time, isn't it? It takes your time up. I had to find something else to do, didn't I? So it was bowls. And I started playing bowls when I was, before 60, because from when I was General Secretary of the unions and everything else, it was where there was the rationalisation of all that type of industry, the industry of unions and everything else took a complete change. And because I was then elected to be the General Secretary of the union, for the Royal London section, and that progressed on, and then that got very much involved nationally. But I was getting on, wasn't I? And sort of when I became to 53, they spoke about having taken early retirement. So there was a marvellous pension scheme, a marvellous early retirement scheme, believe me. Yeah, and all right, once they scratched my back and everything else, I retired at 53. Which gave me more time, didn't it? It gave me more time socially and activity-wise. And then I started, a few years, I started playing bowls. And as a bowler and as everything else, I started to get up playing national level, not as district level. It's district level bowls, which is quite high, you know what I mean, to get there. And then once how did I get involved with the blind bowlers? it became on, you know what I mean, that I came as got connected through with the blind bowlers, and it's now been blind bowlers. Now I've run the blind bowlers for there. We came here and everything else, and we still run it, and I still actively run the blind bowling section. Visually impaired, the visually impaired bowling section, which you've got most of us here now. You know what I mean. My thing is looking after what is required by visually impaired. That's where I am. That's where I am. I'm visually impaired. I'm visually impaired because on my other roles I am group leader for the Macular Society in the area. I don't know if you've heard of the Macular Society. It's for Macular Society, it's blindness. The Macula. They're a national charity of which I've got involved with, and then I got they were sort of running down, and we built it up. 14 years ago now? 14 years ago we started that, and some of these all the lads from some of the lads from there it's connected, it's interconnected, you know, between the organisations there to help and assist and everything else, or give an access to a sport. It's not overactive. You haven't got to have a total amount of fitness and everything else. All you're dealing with an impairment, aren't you? And it's the impairment that we deal with is blindness. In some forms or other, you know what I mean, because everybody's got a degree of impairment. And it's the social side again, you know what I mean, trying to build up somewhere where they can go. I run a support group which is quite active. It's said to be one of the most active support groups for the Macular Society in the country. It's one of the most active. We've kept it that way. COVID nearly killed us off, but it hasn't. It's starting to build it back up again. But it's all like associated because you're all linking in. Everybody links in with the bowls here. You know what I mean? With the bowls, it's not just here, is it? You know what I mean? Because we spread around a bit. You know what I mean? We've spread. We've used and come to PIMS because it was easy access. It was easy access. They had everything, you know what I mean? They had the one thing that they had the premises. They've got the organisation structure of what we required for the bowls. And now we're the major section. Now we are the major section. I mean, this is what they. But that's only because of the age of the people, isn't it? The people that's involved. We bring in here, you know what I mean, more up to 20 members, and they haven't even got 20 members. But we've got 20 members coming in. What? It's being involved in it, you know what I mean? We are, yeah. One of the happiest things was, what was it, last year, when when I got involved with trying to get the finances up, you know what I mean? We needed improvements to the club, you know what I mean? So I did the applications through to Sport England, and we was able to get a grant, which we did. We got a grant, which has been able to pay for. You've seen all things out here, haven't you? You got the steps and everything else. Well, there's still lots of more plans involved in that, in spending that money somehow. We got the funding from Sport It's the year before, at the end of the year before. It's gone flew by, hasn't it? You know what I mean? Flew 2 years of COVID has killed us off, and that was going to be very much improved and brought on nationally, because Sport England got involved. We've started to get involved, but then COVID came out. The second lot of COVID killed that off. But I believe that, I mean, within a short while, they've got a situation that their movement towards giving a service and finding an organisation for blind bowlers, the blind or visually impaired, as we may say, as will come along, and they'll come back onto the show, as I always say. You know what I mean? This is it. They'll come back to us, and that's the national companies. We've always known ourselves as the blind bowlers. I mean, the blind bowlers, Enfield blind bowlers. We have a string down the middle of the rink. We have help. They have walkie-talkies to instruct us to tell from one end to the other. You know what I mean? As I say, you've got the string down there, and you've got different rules that are involved with just the blind bowlers. It's very difficult for a very traditional form of rules within the bowling fraternity, and it's not well liked, you know what I mean? But we just laugh. Yes, I'd like to see a mention home of the Enfield blind bowlers. If they're doing any sign writing or writing, yes, prominence are there, because we are reliant upon, we will be reliant upon getting members. We are fairly active in that regard of trying to get members, but we haven't gone too far with that, because it's being able to cope with it. You can't cope with it because the more blind bowlers we get, the more we require carers, helpers, because we can't do it on our own. They can't do it on their own. They and we can't. There's not enough carers, so you need people coming. People like they got hold of me, you know what I mean? Some years ago, now about 8 years, to come along and help, or find, or I as myself did, really, I started to lose my sight. And I have. But I've worked at it, you know what I mean? I'm not now a problem. I've still got full sight, I still drive, I still do anything else. They're not going to take that away from me, but I'm blind in one eye.